This guy is bringing his intensities to more than 10 cities this summer, as he always does. He's written the greatest love songs of all time. Wango Tango, Yank Me, Crank Me, My Love Is Like a Tire Iron, If You Can't Lick 'Em, Lick 'Em. He's like the Bob Dylan of Poontang. You know what I'm talking about? He's my uncle and your uncle. It's Mr. Ted Nugent. Welcome to the show.
You know, Don, I feel welcome. Who's your sidekick there?
Her name's Natalie Cuomo, very funny comedian here in New York City.
Valerie, I'm sending you happy springtime turkey season love to you and Don.
Oh, thank you.
How was hunting season this year, Ted?
You know, I'm up to my ass in gut piles and backstraps. I'm so happy I might squirt through the phone and stain both of you. You know, when you're lucky like me and the planets align since about 1949, 2019, Don, you know this to be true. This is ridiculous. It's so beautiful. In fact, the word perfect comes to mind. 2019, greatest tour of my life. That is a gravity-defying statement. And then with the last gig, I think it was six. Well, I don't think anything. We actually went back and counted in Detroit on August 31st, 2019. In Detroit, it was my 6,757th concert. And the next morning, I was up early hunting. I had the greatest tour of my life. I'm still having the greatest hunting season of my life. Jason Hartless on drums and Greg Smith on bass guitar. When I find out what species they are, I'm going to call you. I'm just the luckiest guitar player in the world. It's just absolutely perfect.
Well, yeah, and so to one up the greatest tour ever, it's now I don't know what the there's a lot of those phone symbols, but this is the greatest. I'm guessing it's the greatest fucking tour ever. The best, is that what this is called, Ted?
Actually, it's the greatest shit-kicker motherfucking rock and roll rhythm and blues orgy tour ever.
Oh,
but
fuck yeah.
Whatever you prefer to call it. When I jam with Jason and Greg, it's nuts. It's out of body. It's like James Brown and Wilson Pickett and the Motown Funk Brothers and Little Richard join us in spirit. And it's just the luckiest musical dream that a guy could ever want, especially since you and I are cut from that same outrageous, defiant, middle finger on fire rock and roll cloth. Actually, it's not cloth; it's chainmail. It's a damn orgy every day of my life. I'm a lucky son of a bitch.
No, absolutely, and you know I come and see you play every summer, you know, because you're out on the in the deer bluffs and out with your hunting buddies during the winter, but in the summer Ted always comes around and delivers. And I missed you the last time that you came through New Jersey. Unfortunately, I was out on the road making a living, being the hard-working, good American that I am. But looking forward to seeing the show this summer. Any sneak peeks at what's going to occur? Because, you know, I've seen you over the years, and I've seen you shoot flaming arrows during the show. I've even seen you ride a live buffalo onto stage during a show.
So this year, Don, it's just going to be a standard operating procedure. Everybody gets free marshmallows with their tickets, and you can cook them from the flames coming out of my ass for about 2 hours on stage. I'm sure Valerie would appreciate that. Do you like yours well done or just kind of singed, Valerie?
I like them singed.
All right, baby. I'm your boy. I'm your singe master. No, you know, Don, we get ready to tour and we jam, and I got these new licks and new songs, and then we break into Dog Eat Dog, and everybody has a spiritual erection. And then, of course, the Birdland allows my fingers to unleash the opening lick to Stranglehold and Wang Dang Sweet Poontang, one of Valerie's favorites, I think.
Oh, yes.
Right.
It's just... You know, I remember my first amplifier in the garage, and I remember my first piece of ass. And every time we jam, it's like a confluence of both of those. It's unbelievable. I'm 71. I should be limping. I should be on a stretcher somewhere. I'm highly susceptible to the coronavirus. By the way, didn't Taj Mahal sing about that one time? Corona, Corona, how do you do. Wasn't that his song?
I'm not sure, but I can say this. That if anybody goes to see Ted Nugent, and you go to tednugent.com to get your tickets right now for the summer tour, it will be a corona-free virus, because even the coronavirus is afraid of what Uncle Ted does on stage every night.
There were two dead guys that died of coronavirus here in Texas, and they just wheeled their corpses downwind of me. They both came back to life.
This really happens.
You're a superhero.
Just downwind of me will fix. In fact, well, I won't go there, but I can fix whatever ails you. Just get downwind of my 71-and-a-half-year clean and sober, flame-throwing, rock and roll American free ass, and I can fix whatever bothers you.
Well, you know what it is, Ted. The music made you do it. That's really the bottom line, right?
Well, it is a title of a song. I mean, you could not fantasize that brand new sound, that Les Paul guitar noise, turned the world upside down. Oh, yeah, the music made me do it. Not a damn thing I can do. Oh, yeah, the music made me do it. Now I'm going to do it to you. It grabbed me by the balls when I heard the blues. Chuck Berry, Bo Diddley, Little Richard, too. Oh, yeah, the music made me do it. Yeah, it's not just a song, it's a lifestyle. And I know that summarizes all the greatest music that has inspired, from Don Jamison to, I suspect, Valerie Cuomo, and everybody who loves music. It was the music. It was always the music. It was never the fashion. Yeah, Little Richard perfected both, but it was the spirit and the work ethic that they cultivated, their musical skills. So here it is, 2020. How unbelievable is that? 2020, I was born in 1948, right after Les Paul electrified the damn thing, and Leo Fender created the beast, and then Chuck Berry and Bo Diddley showed us what to do with this new invention. And really, we've gone in outrageous, uncharted territory musically and with the guitars over the years, but really, if you listen to Lonnie Mack playing Susie Q or Wham!, and then you jettison up through, I don't care if it's Billy Gibbons or Stevie Ray Vaughan or Ted Nugent or Ricky Medlock or any of your guitar players that create the soundtrack to our life, it really is as pure as what Chuck Berry and Bo Diddley unleashed on the then heretofore non-electric guitar. So 2020, that primal spirit is as pure now as ever. And again, when you got a guy like Jason Hartless on drums and Greg Smith on the bass guitar, if I wasn't in this band, I would just go see those guys every night. They just put their heart and soul into every lick, every song, every gig, and it has a life of its own. So 2020 will be the best. What did I say? The best shit kicker, motherfucker, freedom, flaming ass rock and roll tour of my life. I virtually guarantee it. I can't fucking wait.
Well, yeah, and I can attest to, because I've seen this power trio that Ted speaks of. Now, Greg's been in the game a long time, phenomenal bass player, great vocalist. Jason Hartless, I believe this is your third tour with the young Jason. What has Uncle Ted taught Mr. Hartless about the rock and roll lifestyle?
Oh, I bet you that would be a great interview with Jason. But Jason's been doing this forever. I mean, he was literally tutored by some of the greats in rock and roll. Ace Frehley is like his godfather, and that unbelievable. I feel terrible with the drummer with Mountain, Felix.
Cavallari?
Felix was the bass player.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I feel terrible because Jason's going to kick my ass, but he's been tutored and playing since he was like 6 or 7 years old. So even though he joined the ultimate rock and roll band when he was 20, being from Detroit, you got to be an absolute stone cold groove musical motherfucker to really throttle in Detroit, and he qualifies under that umbrella of superior musical authority, and so he deserves me. And he loves playing my songs, but I didn't have to teach him anything because he was already grounded, he was already professional, he was already conscientious, which means if you're supposed to meet in the hotel lobby at noon, he was there at 11:30. That kind of stuff. His parents taught him properly, and he really loves the music, so he doesn't want to be a dirtbag and get drooling and stoned and stumbling and puking and high and drunk, what is that, by the way? Anyhow, so he's a professional, and I didn't really have to teach him anything. I'm constantly harping on my guys about groove. It's got to be. There's no Caucasians allowed in my band. You got to be Funk Brothers. You got to really immerse yourself into the grind of the songs. I mean, you listen to Stranglehold, and you can't play that groove like a white guy, or I'll throw a screwdriver at you. So these guys understand that, but I'm constantly harping on myself because I don't know if you've noticed this. Valerie, have you noticed that I get a little uppity?
I love it.
I love when you love that I get uppity. It's the uppity things in life are the best things in life. But I have to really, we've talked about this, Don, I really have to discipline myself because I'm an old man, but I still have that ridiculous, unbridled passion for the music. And I could play like I could play like Blue Cheer if I didn't pay attention. Which I love Blue Cheer, but you know what I mean.
Well, no, you're 71 going on 20.
It's got to be a black. I want to qualify, and Jason and Greg and I believe this, and we remind each other constantly, especially before we go on stage, that we have to qualify to be in James Brown's band.
Yeah.
Every song, I would want to make James Brown happy. And if you got that groove and that pulse, then you finish the night just as happy as a human being can be.
No doubt. You're 71 going on 21, and the energy is still there, as you said, Ted. And of course, just as important as hearing Stranglehold, which, let's just face it, it is the greatest rock and roll song ever. And playing Dog Eat Dog and playing Need You Bad and playing all that stuff. There's still new music from Ted Nugent. So for people who don't know, in 2019, he brought Greg Smith and Jason Hartless into a studio, and they made an album called The Music Made Me Do It, which is, I think, one of the best rock albums of 2019.
Thank you.
Yeah, and it's obviously a collection of new songs, but there's a couple of songs on there that you might recognize. One of them being taking your classic Cat Scratch Fever, but making it a hunting song.
Well, the battle cry of the hunting world, obviously, is conservation, and we cherish the sacred flesh when we put our heart and soul into being a reasoning predator. And when we kill that beast, it's like the Aboriginal or the Native American spiritual connection with the animal. You consider it a gift if you put your heart and soul into being a thoughtful, conscientious predator and killing that animal cleanly, not to be confused with the assembly line for the masses, which I'm a big fan of, the assembly line slaughter every minute of every day globally so that we can feed the world. The farmers and ranchers feed the world with dead chickens and pigs and goats and cows and lambs, and I salute them because people need food and nothing better than protein. But when you kill an animal with a bow and arrow, and you got to look them in the eye. You got to get close. You got to be really sneaky and clever and stealthy and really, really lucky. And so when you get that animal, you kneel down at its side and you say a prayer for the wild things. Even if it's high five and some laughter celebrating the moment, that really is a prayer that you're participating in God's miraculous renewable creation of meat, and fur and feathers and claws and teeth. And there's a sacred moment that's epitomized in what we call the backstrap. That's the backstrap morsel of pure, organic, natural, delicious protein that runs along the spinal column of unsuspecting herbivores. And when you kill one, you take the backstrap, and people gather around the fire to eat the backstrap. And I'm telling you, Don, you've had some great moments in your life, and Valerie, I'm sure you've had lots of highs and lows. We all experience the roller coaster of life, but you can't imagine the highs, the physical and spiritual highs around a campfire when you're eating backstraps from an animal you just killed. There's a connection you have with the tribe, with your friends, your family. So with that soliloquy extended further than you wanted it to, the song Backstrap Fever is an ode to that sacred morsel of flesh found along the backbone of a deer, and it's called a backstrap. So my annual Backstrap Fever as important as playing Cat Scratch Fever every night on stage.
Absolutely, and the other one on there that also relates to hunting, of course, is a kind of an updated or acoustic version of Fredbear, which is always a concert favorite when you go see Ted Nugent. Why'd you decide to sort of work up a new arrangement on that one?
Well, if you just play the answer to that last question, it would be almost the same as Fredbear, because over the years, I do a lot of charity work with terminally ill kids. And we always get a campfire going. I'm talking little boys and girls, 7, 8. We had a little boy, a 6-year-old boy, that was dying of cancer. And his last, think about this one, Don. So you're 6, and your last request in life is to go hunting with Ted Nugent. How did that come about? And of course, his parents eventually explain it to me that he watches our TV show, Ted Nugent Spirit of the Wild. He sees how much fun I'm having, and every kid loves bows and arrows and going in the woods and fishing and hunting. So these kids, they come to this campfire, and the request every time, and it's it's too emotional to try to even explain, but I'm sure you can grasp it readily. And every time, my goal is to take their mind off the chemo and radiation and the pending doom. And that's quite a chore. But we have fun. We go four-wheeling, we go off-road, and we go walks in the river, we play with the dogs, and we shoot our bows and arrows. And then we get around a campfire, and hopefully there's backstrap to be had at the campfire. And these kids, their parents tell me in the most emotional tsunami you can imagine that it's the first time these kids have laughed in a long time because Uncle Ted's funny. And they always ask to play the Fredbear song. Well, around the campfire, I don't have the amplifier, so it's always been an acoustic jam. And because of the atmosphere that is so unique around these campfires, it's pretty powerful. I know I'm playing it for a kid who knows he's not going to be here long.
Yeah,
can you imagine? I mean, we're pretty smart and educated people, but I don't think we have any idea the thought process of that little boy or that little girl, knowing that they're only that young and they're not going to see their 8th birthday or whatever, and they want to hear the Fredbear song. So it's been so embraced by these families. And it is so emotional because I love the great man Fredbear, and I miss him. And we just celebrated what would be his 118th birthday, I think, this last week up in Grayling, Michigan. They have an annual Fredbear Day where they play the song. And that acoustic version is something I just insisted on putting on the record because there's been so many families that have appreciated around that last campfire with loved ones. And it's an emotional song for me because that man meant so much to me, and it was such a heartbreak when he died. And everybody has a Fredbear. Everybody has a loved one, a family member. My brother here just passed away last month, and it's just inexplicable why we are so ill-equipped to handle death. And so as a musician, all my best moments come out of me musically. And that's what that song in an acoustic version around a campfire with special people at a very difficult time in life, facing trauma and vicissitudes that we have no control over. And that's why that acoustic version of Fredbear is on there, and people love it.
Yeah, it's a great version, and condolences, obviously, about your brother. With the... It's obviously, Fredbear to you was such an inspiration, and now you're passing that along to the kids. Your charity work, especially, not only with kids, but with the military veterans, is really unprecedented for a lot of people who don't know that side of Ted Nugent. And hunting's a family thing for you, right?
Absolutely.
Pretty much everybody in your family hunts?
In fact, if I can, I think this would be the best part of that Jamison show. A moment of silence for the most dangerous, sexy, deadly animal in the world, Mrs. Nugent. Shemaine is just, I'm not going to say how old she is, 57, because women don't like when you mention that. But she is so the song Little Miss Dangerous doesn't even come close to identifying the sexual danger zone that Shemaine exudes every day. And I mean, I'm not going to get into too much detail here because it's none of your damn business. But anyhow, it's she is the most deadly bow hunter in the world. She is my soulmate. She is my best buddy. She is my sexual fantasy. She is the smartest, cockiest Detroit bitch that ever walked the earth. And when you put a bow and arrow in her hands, you better sharpen your knife because something's going to die. So it is a family event. When I go hunt with Shemaine or my son Toby or my daughters, my sons, my grandkids, and my brothers, my sister, when there's a hunting event and a hunting campfire, which, by the way, is every day September, October, November, December, January, and February. And even now, turkey season's about to erupt, and I'm catching fish left and right. So, yeah, conservation and resource stewardship, benefiting the ground, benefiting wildlife and their habitat to produce clean air, soil, and water. It's the most important job of a human being. So our family, we've planted tens of thousands of trees starting around 1970, and we do it every spring with kids and grandkids and different charity work. But yeah, the hunting lifestyle, it's the ultimate family endeavor because you're literally producing the survival food, and quite honestly, from the animals you get clothing and shelter and tools and weapons and medicine, and most importantly, spirit. And those ingredients define the connection of family and tribe and community. So yeah, it's serious business. It's so much fun. It's crazy. But it's also incredibly serious responsibility to kill those animals and make room for next year's production and giving value to those renewable resources so that you manage wildlife habitat to produce those deer and pheasants and ducks and geese and squirrels and rabbits so you safeguard it from the concrete jungle hell zone mobile, and you safeguard this habitat so you... And here it is, 2020, we have more cougars, more black bear, more deer, more turkey than ever in recorded history. And we've paved over most of the damn planet. So the wildlife is adaptable, but hunting, fishing, and trapping, and the gazillions of dollars we spend to pay biologists and botanists and law enforcement and management to make sure that this wild ground is safeguarded from the bulldozer. So, yeah, I'm real proud of that, and it is family. It's what the Nugent family really lives for.
Yeah, and maybe I may have misheard you when you were on my friend Eddie Trunk's radio show, but I believe you said that one of your sons, or maybe your grandson, is a vegetarian.
Wow.
Actually, my son Rocco is absolute vegan.
Wow.
He's got a digestive condition where he experimented for years to find out what worked with his system. We went through that health trauma horror story in Michigan when that Stachybotrys black poison mold just about killed us. And that's why we moved to Texas to be treated. We lost our dream home. On MTV Cribs, I had a paradise. I had a palace on a lake on 1,200 acres of God's lap. And we lost that house to that poison mold. And Rocco was just growing up at the time, and we believe that it really affected his immune system and his digestive system. So he discovered that a pure vegan, no meat, no flesh, no dairy. He is hardcore, but he 100% supports his dad's conservation lifestyle and a good pheasant barbecue. But I also respect his choice, and I respect all vegans' choices. It's just that you have to be honest, and all the vegans in the world has not reduced the slaughter of pigs or chickens or cows or anything else. Nobody's ever said, let's kill fewer pigs this year because there's some vegans out there. In fact, their meat production is at an all-time high around the world, and we like barbecue. And I love vegans, and I love vegetarians. In fact, Don, Valerie, that's all I eat is vegetarians. All the deer I kill are vegetarians. Actually, I eat cougars, and they're not vegetarians. They're omnivores. And black bears are delicious, but they're omnivores also. So, yeah, Rocco's a vegan. He's probably one of the smartest, most loving, kind, cocky, capable, work ethic, monsters that you will ever meet. I love my sons and daughters and grandkids.
Okay, so it's more of a health thing. So he's allowed in the house.
Yeah, he's allowed in the house. And by the way, he's a marksman, too, with a bow and arrow or with a rifle or a handgun. The kid can really, really shoot. He just doesn't want to kill animals. He knows Dad's kills plenty. But he, in an interview with him, getting into his insight, he's deep into the spiritual world. But so was Cochise, and Cochise ate buffalo meat. And Rocco knows that. He respects that. But he has chosen his own path in life, and he is a hardcore vegan, and I love him madly.
Right. Well, because he's like Dad, because he's hardcore and committed to something, and he sticks with it. So that's commendable for sure. Let's dive into because I only got a couple of minutes, I think, left with you. But let's dive into some fun territory. Any predictions on the 2020 presidential election? Ted Nugent, go.
Well, if Joe Biden can get some assistance in forming a sentence, he might have a shot. But I think making America great and securing our borders and renegotiating global contracts to benefit America would be the guy I would vote for. I would vote for God, family, country, freedom, independence, individual rights. And that's one guy and one guy only. His name is Donald Trump. I believe he's the greatest president ever. And if you just listen to the lies and hate about him, I think we can all agree that Donald Trump is as close to Ted Nugent as you will ever get in politics, because the guy is absolutely unafraid. His energy level is absolutely stupefied. I've hung out. I was with Donald Trump November 2016 till 3 o'clock in the morning on Election Day. And the guy had already done 6 states, I think. And I'm a high-energy guy. But that guy makes me look like I'm sleeping. He is a roustabout shit kicker, we the people, working hard, playing hard, son of a bitch, and I love him madly. And if people really want the best for America, American families, American workers, you got to be kidding me. You got to vote for a guy who believes in securing our borders, negotiating on behalf of America, respecting our troops, and respecting law enforcement. And that would be a Republican named Donald Trump. Case fucking closed.
Well, God bless. And, you know, when you mention that he's a lot like you, and you really think about it, when you see these rallies where there's 20,000 people in the arena, 15,000 people outside the arena, just watching on screens, and there's President Trump on stage, and he's working the crowd just like Ted does in concert. He's talking to people over there. He's pacing back and forth. He's pointing people out. He knows, to end with the greatest hits. He ends with his Stranglehold or his Cat Scratch Fever, when he does the whole thing, wrap up at the end with, and we're going to keep it prosperous and keep America great again and all of that. So he really is he's like you, but without a guitar or a crossbow.
Very astute observation on your part. No wonder this is called That Jamison Show. Yeah, no shit. Well, I think the most important word in America is shit kicker. America is America because of shit kickers. Shit kickers that met the British punks at Concord Bridge. American shit kickers who declared their independence and wrote down self-evident truths that each individual human being has God-given individual rights that we wrote in the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. And Donald J. Trump is a shit kicker, man. He's unafraid, no matter how many lies and how much hate they throw at him. The guy comes out with a shit kicker grin and just literally stomps the shit out of the goofballs. So, yeah, I really love this guy, and he was the right guy at the right time. And I just hope that people that believe that rugged individuality, work ethic, entrepreneurship, the man in the arena that keeps taking risks and making sacrifices and works his ass off, and sometimes we stumble, but we get back up and we try harder again. Boy, that's the president that we have right now. And if you look at what the Democrats stand for, so there's a category of people, Don and Valerie, who don't believe that America should have secure borders. The category of people in the world who don't believe that America should have secure borders are known as the enemies of America. You have to be the enemy of America if you want our borders unsecured. And that describes the Democrat Party, and I could go on and on. They're freaks. I mean, just watch Nancy Pelosi, and you know, there's who exudes G-forces when they're trying to form a sentence. The Democrats, they're absolute dangerous, America-hating, lying, conniving, corrupt, power-abusing freaks. And their great leader in the corruption is Hillary Clinton, who did her law thesis at Columbia University on Saul Alinsky, whose book, Rules for Radical, is dedicated to Satan. I'm not making this up.
I just want to play the Star Spangled Banner right now. That was like, that's an amazing speech from a great American, a great rock and roller.
Yeah.
And I want every shit kicker out there in the audience to go to tednugent.com right now, pick up tickets for when he comes to your town. I can attest, I've seen Ted many, many times over the years. It's one of the best rock and roll shows you will ever see in your life. And I thank you so much for your time, and I can't wait to see you this summer, Ted.
Well, Don, thanks for that. I really salute you guys who defy the status quo and the druggy, stoner, drunken, goofball, fashion grunts of the world. Thank you for all your support, because you know that my bands have always put their heart and soul in the American music that we play, and I salute you guys for defying the status quo out there, because I play the soundtrack for people who defy the status quo. And you, Don, you deserve me. And Valerie, you got a good guy next to you there. And let everybody know I have a hat that got blazoned across the front of it that says, "Re-elect that motherfucker." And I've autographed thousands and thousands of them. And you can get that "Re-elect that motherfucker" hat at tednugent.com and let your freedom battle cry shit kicker freak flag fly.
Everyone do it right now. I'm going online as we speak to get my beautiful red hat. There it is. Re-elect that motherfucker. We got it up on the screen here, Ted. I know you can't see it, but we're making sure that everybody sees it.
With me, Don, you're weird, right?
Hey, that's all right. I've been weird my whole life, and it's got me this far. You know, Double Live Gonzos, you know, what a perfect soundtrack for puberty, my friend.
Oh, I'm telling you, and for the advancement in age, it makes me get up in the morning in more ways than one.
Well, God, yeah. Well, let's thank Mrs. Nugent for that as well. But again, that's none of my business. All I know is what you do with that giant Birdland guitar and all those beautiful sounds that you make that come out of it with your band. And again, thank you so much, man.
Thanks, Don. God bless you. Valerie, have a great summer.
You too. Great talking to you.
And I'll kill a turkey for both of you.
Thank you, dude.
Thank you.
Live it up.
Live it up. There it is.
Wow.
Yeah.
What an energy.
It's crazy.
He's an amazing spirit. He's got, such an intense and beautiful energy.
Well, thank you, Valerie. And
I thought it was Mallory.
were you Valerie or Mallory?
It was Mallory, and then I was Valerie.
Might have been Mallory, Valerie. It is Natalie Cuomo, by the way.
Here I am.
After about the third time, because I tried to cut in a couple times, but after the third time, I was like, it's way funnier if it's just Valerie for the rest of the show.